As a therapist, I hear this term a lot, and often it's used as a catchphrase, but it neglects the true meaning of the word. Gaslighting. As I'm a person that believes in labeling things correctly is very important, so I really want to sit for a second and break down what gaslighting is and why it's so insidious in relationships. So gaslighting is a manipulative tactic used by one person to make another person question their perception of reality. This form of psychological abuse involves the gaslighter repeatedly lying, denying, or twisting the truth to confuse the victim, ultimately leading them to doubt their own thoughts, memories, feelings, and even their sanity. The term gaslighting comes from a 1938 play entitled Gaslight, and later it was made into a film, where the husband manipulates his wife into believing that she's going insane by dimming their gas lights in the home, then denying that the lights ever change. Here are key characteristics of gaslighting. Number 1, denial of the facts. The gaslighter frequently denies events or statements they made, even when the victim has clear evidence. For example, the gaslighter might insist, "I never said that," or "You're making stuff up," when confronted with their actions or their words. And over time, these denials can cause the victim to question their own memory and perception of events. Number 2, distortion of reality. The gaslighter consistently distorts the truth or presents false information to manipulate the victim's understanding of reality. And this could involve exaggerating details, making up stories, or selectively sharing information to paint a different picture. These tactics create confusion and makes the victim doubt their judgment and the authenticity of what they have experienced. Number 3, undermining confidence. So a gaslighter aims to erode the victim's self-confidence by making them feel incompetent or incapable of understanding their reality. They might say things like, "You're being too dramatic," or "No one else thinks the way you do," implying that the victim's thoughts or feelings are not valid or widely shared. Number 4, isolation. To strengthen their control, gaslighters may attempt to isolate their victims from friends, family, or support systems. This isolation ensures that the victim relies more heavily on the gaslighter for validation and reality checks, making it harder for them to break free from that cycle of manipulation. Number 5, use of compassion or denial as tactics. So gaslighters might mix in moments of kindness or compassion to confuse the victim even further. For example, after a period of manipulation, the gaslighter might show care or affection, making the victim question whether the manipulation was real or if they misinterpreted the gaslighter's intentions. And as you can probably tell, this tactic can lead to the victim actually feeling guilty or for doubting the gaslighter and becoming more entangled in that abusive and manipulative relationship. The effects of gaslighting can be profound and long-lasting. Over time, victims of gaslighting may experience anxiety because of the constant manipulation and confusion. It can lead to a heightened sense of anxiety as their victims are unsure of their reality or what might trigger the gaslighter's next attack. They can also experience the erosion of self-esteem and feeling of being trapped in a toxic relationship, which can contribute to feelings of hopelessness and depression. Victims also feel very confused about what is true and what is false, leading to a state of constant self-doubt and second-guessing. Those experiencing gaslighting often feel confused about circumstances they had been sure of in the past because of the gaslighter's influence. There can also be a loss of self-confidence. So as gaslighting continues, victims may start to believe the negative things that the gaslighter has said about them, leading them to have a significant loss of self-confidence, self-value, and self-worth. And they can take on the things that are constantly being rehearsed in that relationship, especially if they really love their partner. In other words, if the victim genuinely has trust in the gaslighter, they can begin to value those opinions above their own. Long-term abuse can lend itself to emotional instability. The victim may feel a wide range of emotions: anger, frustration, sadness, disappointment, despair, and often they can feel like they're on an emotional roller coaster. The victim may also become increasingly dependent on the gaslighter for a sense of reality, as they're unsure of what's true or what's false on their own because they're constantly getting pushback from what they think is real. So what does gaslighting look like? Here are some examples. Denying reality. If the victim confronts the gaslighter about a hurtful comment, the gaslighter might deny ever making that comment or saying, "I never said that, you're making things up." This denial forces the victim to question their memory and question their perception. Trivializing emotions, right? So the gaslighter dismisses the victim's feelings as overreaction, saying things like, "You're way too sensitive," or "You're overreacting." This tactic makes the victim feel ashamed of their emotions and makes them question whether their feelings are factual or valid. Number 3, blaming the victim. So the gaslighter might shift the blame onto the victim for things that are not actually their fault. For instance, they might say something like, "You're the one causing the problems. It's your fault I'm like this. It's your fault I get so angry." And this makes the victim feel responsible for the gaslighter's behavior. Projecting. The gaslighter might also accuse the victim of behaviors or feelings they're actually exhibiting themselves, such as saying, "You're being manipulative," when in fact the gaslighter is the one manipulating, right? This projection confuses the victim and makes them doubt their own actions. Gaslighting is a deeply harmful form of psychological abuse because it undermines a person's ability to trust themselves. Over time, victims of gaslighting may feel trapped in a relationship, believing they are incapable of making sound judgments or that they deserve the treatment they're receiving. And this manipulation can have very long-lasting effects on a person's mental health, right? Potentially leading to conditions like PTSD, anxiety disorders, or severe depression. So how do you recognize and respond to gaslighting? Recognizing gaslighting involves noticing patterns of manipulation and emotional abuse. Signs that you might be experiencing gaslighting include constantly second-guessing yourself, feeling confused and disoriented, often apologizing, feeling like you cannot do anything right, and being made to feel overly sensitive or irrational. So if you suspect that you are being gaslighted, here's some things you could do. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or mental health professional who can provide an outside perspective and help to validate your experiences. You should also document your experiences. So keeping something like a journal or electronic record of events can help you keep track of what actually happened and serve as a reality check when you begin to doubt yourself. You also want to be sure to set clear boundaries with your gaslighter, right? Limit your exposure to their manipulative tactics and protect your emotional well-being. Trust your instincts. If you feel like something is off, it probably is. Your intuition is a powerful tool that can help you recognize manipulation. You also want to educate yourself, learning more about gaslighting and its tactics to empower you to recognize them more immediately and resist manipulation. It is a serious form of emotional abuse and it can have long-lasting effects. So it's very important to recognize and take steps to protect yourself and seek support from trusted individuals and or professionals. As I always say, while I am a licensed professional, I might not be your licensed professional. If you find yourself trapped in a situation where you're experiencing gaslighting or other forms of psychological abuse, please use this information as education, but reach out to a professional near you for more personalized or individualized care.